former Facebook employee tells the US Congress the social media giant is harming children, stoking division and weakening democracy.
I saw Facebook repeatedly encounter conflicts between its own profits and our safety. Facebook consistently resolved these conflicts in favor of its own profits.
The British government announces an independent inquiry into the murder of a young woman, Sarah Everard, by a police officer, a crime that shocked the country.
The public have a right to know what systematic failures enabled his continued employment as a police officer. We need answers as to why this was allowed to happen.
And the Nobel Prize for Physics is awarded to 3 scientists who worked out the complex calculations needed to measure climate change.
The Democrats say the U.S. Senate will vote on Wednesday on their proposal to suspend America's debt ceiling. The borrowing limit will expire in a fortnight, which would mean parts of the government having to close down. At least 10 Republicans will need to vote with the Democrats for it to pass. So far, they've indicated they won't support it as long as the Democrats plan huge increases in social spending. Investigators in California say they're checking whether the oil spill, which has polluted 16 miles of beaches near Los Angeles, was caused by a ship's anchor dragging a pipeline on the ocean floor. Underwater footage shows a split in the pipe, with one stretch around 100 feet away from where it should be. 6 miles of shoreline have been cleaned so far. Chinese officials are reported to have told the organizers of the G20 summit, which is due to be held in Rome at the end of this month, that President Xi Jinping will not attend in person. Mr. Xi has not left China since January 2020. It's being reported that the reason for him staying away from the Rome gathering is China's COVID quarantine requirements for returning travelers. The son of the Philippines' former dictator, Ferdinand Marcos, has announced that he will run for president in next year's election. Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who's known as Bongbong, has been a supporter of the outgoing president, Rodrigo Duterte. He said that if elected, he would bring unifying leadership to the country. A representative of the British government has held a face-to-face meeting with the Taliban's acting foreign minister. These pictures were released of Simon Gass sitting down with and shaking the hand of Amir Khan Muttaqi. British forces had fought against the Taliban in Afghanistan for nearly 2 decades. Pope Francis says he felt pain when he heard of the findings of an independent report into abuse carried out by members of the Catholic Church in France. The scale of the abuse was staggering. Dating back to 1950, the investigators found more than 200,000 children had become victims.